Hi everyone, this is T Dinesh Kumar. In this video, I am going to explain you about the different GPS measurement tools. Introduction Introduction is that the tools which we use for measuring the geo information are called as measurement tools. There are three different types of measurement techniques: primitive measurement tools, land surveying techniques, electronic land surveying techniques. In primitive measurement tools, these were used historically. These were used in villages where distances were measured using a variety of means. Some of them are using pace, hands, guessing rods, guessing tools. Second was using the traditional method of pacing. Third one using the Patwari measurement techniques. So this is a diagram which used pace, hands or guessing rods in the ancient times for measuring any kind of objects or instruments or any bodies that we want to measure. So these were the tools being used. In pace, it pace means it is used for walking along. One can measure or make a guess by using hands. Standard tools were also used in primitive times. In traditional method of pacing, this was used by the people in primitive days to measure the quality of the soil. They used to dig a hole in the soil, and depending upon how much the water level went down, the quality of soil was judged in the traditional method of pacing. So next was the Patwari measurement methods, which is quite common in Indian villages, where Patwari is a grassroots level worker in a village who measures the land in the village. He makes use of some devices in the forms of rods or chains in order to measure a piece of land. This was also a very primitive way of measurement. Second technique is the land surveying techniques. Due to the scientific advancements with time, accuracy in measurement, it became a prime requirement. Measurements made by the human body parts began to be considered inaccurate as they varied from person to person. One person, if he is shorter, the measurement was lower. When person when is high is in heighter, his measurement was in excess. So these were the drawbacks in that. So in order to standardize these measurements, new land surveying techniques came into practice. One is the chain, so which was capable of measuring precise distances. Second, compass, capable of determining directions and rudimentary angles. The principle of magnetic needle that aligns itself in a magnetic field was being used. Third one was the tape, which determined the shorter distances. Fourth one was the theodolite, which measured angles either in horizontal or vertical. However, surveying at inaccessible points is not possible because one needs to go to the area, occupy the points, and then carry out the measurements. Therefore, all the methods turned out to be cumbersome, particularly in inaccessible areas. So, these methods of measurement used to take long duration, thus increasing the time required to complete the survey. Third one is the electronic land surveying techniques. Early instruments were large, heavy, complicated, and expensive. Today, the conventional and mechanical instruments have been converted into sophisticated electronic instruments. The improvement in electronics have given rise to lighter, simpler, and less expensive instruments. By using the electronic instruments, we need not do pacing and need not spread a chain for measuring the distance. So, this can be easily mounted on a standard units or theodolites. Electronic methods depend on the velocity of electromagnetic radiations that are utilized to measure the distance and time. The advantages is that precise linear measurement can be used for longer base lines, field operations are simplified, and triangulation are being used. So for this there are three surveying techniques. One, electronic distance measurement instruments, EDMIs, GPS total station, robotic total station. In the electronic distance measurement instruments, this works on the principle of sending a modulated electromagnetic wave from one transmitter at the master station to a reflector at the remote station and receiving it back at the master station. The instrument measures slope distance between the transmitter and the receiver by modulating the continuous carrier wave at different frequencies, and then measuring the phase difference at the master station between the outgoing and the incoming signals. So the general principle involved in this that sending a modulated electromagnetic wave beam from one transmitter at the master station to a reflector at the remote station and receiving it back at the master station. The instrument measures slope distance between the transmitter and receiver by modulating the carrier wave which is continuous at different frequencies, and then measuring the phase difference at the master station between the outgoing and the incoming signals. So this establishes the following relationship for a double distance, so which is 2D. So 2D is equal to m lambda plus phi divided by 2 pi into lambda plus k, where m is an unknown integer number of complete wavelengths contained within double distance, phi is the measured phase difference, lambda is the modulation wavelength, k is a constant, and the multiple modulation frequencies are used to evaluate the m, which is ambiguity in nature. So the diagrammatic, we have the EDM instrument and transmitter, a reflector. So energy is being transmitted from the transmitter to the reflector or the user at different wavelengths. So the modulated electromagnetic energy is superimposed on a carrier, and some part of the energy is being returned back. So that is being measured with respect to that. So with this we can easily find at what distance the user is present or at what distance this B is present. So this varies. These various EDMIs are in use and are based on two methods. First one, using time pulse techniques such as those used in a variety of radar instruments. Second one, using measurements of a phase difference between the two, which may be equated to one part of a cycle. So finding it for a part of a cycle will get easily the distance being measured. So which is the basic principle used in electronic distance measurement instrument, EDMIs. Next comes the GPS total station. The total station is a three-dimensional surveying technology unit that combines the angle measuring capabilities of a theodolite with an EDMI capability that determines the distance between the station and the target at which the instrument is aimed into a single tool. Therefore, a total station, either the robotic total station, can measure angles and distances automatically without the much involvement of a human being. The total station is usually operated by a surveyor assisted by a laborer or a geodist who carries the target pole to the points of a detail to be surveyed. So this surveying using a total station is called as GPS based surveying. So the GPS receivers are the electronic devices which accept satellite signals. The measurements are made by means of GPS satellite positioning with the help of defining the coordinates of the site of an object in three-dimensional terrestrial space. Accuracy of total stations is very high, and they have been in use over a period of time long enough to justify the confidence in their accuracy and reliability. The largest discrepancy between the measured distance and that obtained from the total station is 0.05 meters. People generally use the total station to produce maps or profiles that contain features such as topographical breaks in slope that, when attenuated with a polyline, provide a three-dimensional view of the map. Next is the robotic total station. This is a type of total station that is operated remotely by the surveyor. The robotic station represents a full set of traditional surveying tools where a new GPS receiver and software can be inbuilt. A lot of developments have been incorporated into the total stations or the robotic stations, where the developments have been done to an extent where a single person can carry on the surveying throughout the robotic controls. So next is the problems that are being associated with the electronic methods. First one is the electronic methods encounter difficulties in carrying out surveying in inaccessible areas. One has to go to that ground and occupy that point. If we want to measure the distance of a power line between two poles, a person has to measure the coordinates at several points on the power line, and if one needs to do this job using a total station, it is a very difficult exercise because each and every point on the line needs to be bisected. And another problem, with an example I'll explain you, is that in the area of a flooded region, One cannot go to the flooded region to carry out the measurements. One will have to wait for the flood water to recede, then go to the ground and carry out the measurements. References for my presentation is Lange RB, why is the GPS signal so complex in the GPS world? Ben Hoffman, Wellenhoff, H. Riginger and J. Collins, GPS theory and practice. Alenic GPS satellite surveying, John Willisons. Wells D. et al. Guide to GPS positioning. Kaplan E. Understanding GPS principles and applications. Shaw M.K. Sandhu and Turner, modernization of the global positioning system. Langley R.B. The mathematics of GPS. Conley R.F. Life after selective availability. B. Parkinson, J. Springer Jr., GPS theory and applications. A. Klunsberg and P. Twinsin, GPS for geodesy. Ahmad L. Rabani, Introduction to GPS, the global positioning system. For any questions, you can comment in my comment box. For further videos, kindly subscribe to my channel. Thank you.